course, from Bryan Insurance. We want to say a big hello to Brad and Sonia. Hi, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are y'all doing?
Good, very good. And what do you have for the insurance tip of the week this week?
Well, I think what we have today may be considered a cautionary tale. Do you think, Brad?
Sure. Learn from my mistakes.
Yeah, well, not just your mistakes, but my mistakes too. A couple weeks ago, when we were talking about something else, Rick said, hey, are y'all going to talk about back to school today? And we weren't, but today we kind of are.
There you go.
So we're talking about Texas school zones today.
All right.
Because school has started back and we want all the kids to be safe. And so it's very important when you're driving around a school that not only do you follow the laws about how fast you drive and not being on your cell phone and what are the other ones? Is that mostly it? And don't be distracted.
Yes.
But mostly just watch out for the kids, you know, and just the worst thing you can imagine is a child getting hurt in a car accident, whether he or she is walking or they're in another car. So there's that side of it. And then there's the side of what happens when you do drive in a school zone and you get a ticket.
Well, let's see. My last ticket I received was over here by the on Cherry Street. There doesn't look like there's a school there, but there is a school zone. And when I got pulled over, I was doing 30, talking on the cell phone, just blowing through. And that officer pulled me over and he said, "Sir, you know why I'm pulling you over?" I was like, "I don't have a clue why you're pulling me over." And he's like, "You're going through a school zone." No, I'm not. And I listed out every school here in Graham. And then he turned me around and pointed at the flashing lights. I was going through a school zone. And that ticket for cell phone use in a school zone was $300.
Oh, boy.
Then plus all the deferred adjudication and everything else that cost me, it was not a pretty ticket for just one little mistake for not knowing that school had started.
Well, and I've only gotten 2 tickets in my life, and now let me explain after I say this, okay, because I'm not a monster. They were both because I was speeding in a school zone. The first one, it was back when before Matt was driving, and I was taking him to school, and at high school, and I kind of jokingly blamed it on Rick because...
Yeah, she blamed it. She told the cop it was my fault.
Well, because I was joking, because I knew the cop, and Rick played a song that I liked, and I didn't think about it when we got into the school zone. I was just going 30, got pulled over. Well, he told me, and I don't know if this is true or not, but he told me that they have to give you a ticket. They can't give you a warning.
Oh, yeah.
So
Mandatory.
he didn't know who I was until he got up to the car, and then he realized who I was, and he's like, oh, you know, because I was only going 30 and I just got into the school zone.
Okay.
The second one was exactly the same place Brad got his, because it's very close to our office, and there are 2 daycares across the street from each other. Now, of course, like I said, I'm not a monster. Drive very slowly between those 2 daycare centers because I know.
What's the intersecting street on it? Cherry and what?
It's third and Cherry.
Is it 3rd or 2nd?
No,
It's-
second
It's
Cherry.
between 2nd and 1st on
then
Cherry
it
Street.
was the Methodist Church daycare? Is that
No,
it's the other ones up at the end of the
They're
street.
across the street from each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, if you were going on Cherry Street towards, like, the library.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I always, school zone or not, I didn't know it was a school zone. There's a sign bigger than Dallas. I just didn't know. I always go very slow in between the daycare centers because obviously a child could run out or whatever. And then I got up to normal speed after I got out and I got pulled over, same thing. So it's expensive. And I got both of mine. I took defensive driving for one. It was a few years later, I got the other one. So they didn't go on my record, but they were still very expensive. So we just thought today we would point out school's in session, watch out for those school zones. Even if you're not by a school, look for the signs because it can be a very expensive ticket.
And one of them that I'm finding that's a bigger issue, not just being here in Graham, but when you're in travel, there's several schools that are on highways, especially in Weatherford and Archer City. They're both on the main roads. So you'll be going along, you're at the higher speeds, 50, 60 miles an hour, and then all of a sudden it'll drop to 25 within seconds. And so be very careful.
Yeah, so that's our class today.
How does tickets like in school zones, or is it different? I mean, or does it matter? Or even passing a parked school bus, that's a huge one nowadays. I mean, that's like you could lose your driving license over that one.
I don't even know if you can take defensive driving to get rid of that one.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
But
That's
how does that
serious.
affect your insurance rate?
It affects it greatly, especially in the personal auto policy. Yeah, it's bad.
So you
That's
have to
all
be
I can
careful.
say.
about
It's bad.
Don't if you see that? Yeah, if you see red lights on the bus, stop. I mean, just do not even think about trying to pass that bus.
Yeah.
And schools, most school districts now, much larger ones, have cameras on the sides of the school buses that are recording people passing, and then they go back and prosecute later.
And I'll tell you another thing a lot of people don't realize, that let's say the band is up there practicing on the football field, if there is an activity going on at the school, a practice or anything like that, if it's at 7 o'clock at night, the school zones are in effect.
Yeah, I believe the ones at the high school don't have a time on them at all.
Right.
I think that the grade schools will have a time, but the high school doesn't. And I mean, it all goes back to safety, and I don't think anybody wants somebody to get hurt.
Right.
But I think it's just a matter of pay attention, look at the signs, pay attention to your surroundings, and that way nobody gets hurt, and you don't get a ticket that you don't want to have to pay.
Exactly.
And your insurance rates won't go up.
That's a big deal.
Right.
All right, how do we get a hold of you?
You can call us at 940-549